This is WEFT Champaign, 90.1 FM, Community Radio for East Central Illinois. Streaming live at www.weft.org. The views and opinions expressed here are those of the speakers and do not necessarily represent those of WFT, its board of directors, associates, its station manager, or Prairie Air Incorporated. The following program is pre-recorded and consists of two parts. The first part is a rebroadcast of a program originally aired in 2011. The second part was recorded on July 8th, 2015. Welcome to Weekend Heartbeat. I'm Sean David, and this is A New Lamp.
New lamp for old. New lamp for old. Remember how Aladdin headed out to get oil for his mother's old dented, tarnished lamp? And in the market he met a magician calling out these words. This strange man was offering to give him a brand new shiny lamp for his old one. That's what I want to offer you, if you'll have it. A new lamp of spiritual guidance. But maybe you already have such a lamp, which still burns brightly. Great. You are still welcome to join us simply to learn who we are. But maybe your lamp of divine guidance has gotten dented and tarnished, like Aladdin's. Or perhaps you have no such lamp at all. To you, I offer a new lamp. Hi, my name is Marilyn. Welcome to A New Lamp, a program designed to make you acquainted with the Bahá'í religious faith. I hope you will choose to spend the next few minutes with me. Thanks.
He was born in the springtime, the end of the winter, nurtured with love on his grandfather's knee, a wave of the ocean, a shell of great splendor, the most priceless pearl we'll ever see. And he wanted so much to work hard, and he wanted so much to please. Sent far away to finish his schooling, a telegram came returning him home. Born to a station he may not have chosen, he carried a mountain the rest of his days. And he wanted so much to work hard, and he gave so much on the way. Who trained the trees in the meadow? Who cleared the paths on the hill? Who placed the flowers in the garden? The guardian, the guardian. Do 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 do. his friendship, warming each quarter, the kindness of his heart, sharing each year, compassion embroidered with love on his forehead, their petals and scent kissed everyone near. And he wanted so much to work hard, and he wanted so much to share. Who trained the trees in the meadow? Who cleared the paths on the hill? Who placed the flowers in the garden? The guardian, the guardian.
So far, we have reviewed the lives of the Bab, Baha'u'llah, and Abdul Baha. Today, we meet the last member of the Baha'i Holy Family to lead the faith. Shoghi Effendi Rabbani was grandson to Abdul Baha. Like his father before him, Abdul Baha made a will and testament naming Shoghi Effendi as his successor and guardian of the faith. Shoghi Effendi was born March 1st, 1897 in Akka. As the extended family lived in one household, he had close contact with his grandfather. Though a lively, intelligent child, he was prone to illness. For his education, he was sent to the American University in Beirut and then to Oxford in England, where he learned a superb knowledge of the English language. He was to be the designated interpreter of the Baha'i writings. He also, of course, learned about Western culture and wore Western clothes except for the headgear, which was still the Eastern Taj. You may wonder why Baha'i writings are done in Old King James English. Personally, I love it, having grown up with the King James Bible. If you find it difficult, it's simply a matter of getting used to it like anything else. As to the why of it, I have read before I became a Baha'i that interpreters of the Quran have always had difficulty with translation because the Arabic and Persian read so beautifully that the beauty of it is lost in English translation. So too with the Baha'i writings, which were in Arabic and Persian. Shoghi Effendi very much wanted the writings to be as nearly beautiful as the original. At the time of his translations, the King James Bible was still in use, and of course so was Shakespeare. He made no attempt to simplify it into the common English of the day, but sought to enlarge the reader's vocabulary. I have to admit, I sometimes have to refer to the dictionary. It was while he was still at Oxford that Abdul Baha passed on unexpectedly. At the young age of 24, he found himself the head of this young, struggling religion. He was filled with grief and anxiety, and for a time retreated to the Alps to regain his health. His was a huge task. It was now time for expansion, both in the propagation of the faith, but also in developing its administrative structures throughout the world. At the shrine of the Bab, the superstructure had to be built. All the holy places preserved, lands purchased and developed for the Universal House of Justice, which would become the world center. His was an overwhelming task. He had a true partner in his wife, Mary Maxwell from Canada, whom he called Ruhiya Khanum. She not only worked steadfastly with him, but continued his work, along with others designated as hands of the cause of God, until the Universal House of Justice was ready to take control of the leadership of the faith. Shoghi died at age 60 in London. He had been taken ill with the Asian flu and suffered a heart attack. He is buried in a cemetery north of London. He truly gave his life for the cause his great-grandfather had founded, and is held in high regard and affection by all Baha'is.
gazed upon his blessed face and never saw a beauty so sublime. It was my last look for all time. In agony and joy, in agony and joy. I laid him in his second shroud, carpeted his sleeping form with flowers from holy places in most bowers, a cloak of love, a cloak of love. I tucked the petals in his hands and laid the soft white silk so warm over his treasured form, across his face. My love, I laid you down for and on your breast a crimson rose, with what prayer and kiss God knows. I gently laid, I gently laid. Upon his blessed face and never saw a beauty so sublime. It was my last look for all time.
O dwellers of my paradise, with the hands of loving kindness I have planted in the holy garden of paradise the young tree of your love and friendship, and have watered it with the goodly showers of my tender grace. Now that the hour of its fruiting is come, strive that it may be protected and not be consumed with the flame of passion and desire. Baha'u'llah. Thanks so much for being with me this morning. I hope you have found a blessing during these few minutes. If you want to learn more about the Baha'i religion, you can go online to www.bahai.us. To contact me, my email address is anewlamp@yahoo.com. Thanks, and have a great day.
This hour of programming is brought to you by Cranach Center for the Performing Arts and the listeners of WEFT. Cranach Center for the Performing Arts has announced the cancellation of all spring 2021 public in-person performances. Cranach Center thanks you for your steadfast support and invites you to visit cranachcenter.com for updates on virtual programming and other news. Are you interested in helping out with local needs in Champaign-Urbana related to the pandemic? You can sign up now with the volunteer mobilization coordinated by the Champaign PTA Council. All are welcome, and you don't have to be in the PTA. Signing up means you would like to be contacted about a volunteer opportunity, but there is no commitment. Volunteer activities include things you can do remotely from home, food distribution to low-income people, and gardening at the health department. Sign up at tinyurl.com/PTAWITT. Again, that's tinyurl.com/PTAWITT. And the WITT stands for We're in This Together. The Daily Bread Soup Kitchen, an all-volunteer operation, is located at 116 North 1st Street in Champaign. Their mission is to feed the hungry of Champaign County 7 days a week from 11 to 12:30 p.m. Because 1 in 7 adults and 1 in 5 children in our county are food insecure, and because so many have lost their jobs or are experiencing a lack of resources during this coronavirus crisis, the need is right here. While dining room is closed during this time, good nutritious meals and sack lunches are available for pickup at the front door daily. For more information, visit dailybreadsoupkitchen.com. Guests will get good meals and a little certainty in these uncertain times.
Good afternoon, and welcome back to this portion of A New Lamp. Our guest today is Parviz Zodi. Recently moved here from Texas, but originally from Iran. Hello, and welcome, Parviz.
Hi, Parviz.
Hello, Mary and Shaun. Thanks for having me at your show.
Oh, we're so glad you're here. We'll be getting into the problems about the Baha'is in Iran after a little bit. But first of all, could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, recently me and my wife moved from Dallas, Texas to Champaign because I got job offer at the Carl Foundation Hospital, and here I am.
Great. And what department do you work in?
I work at the respiratory department, and I'm a respiratory therapist, and I'm glad being at that Carl Hospital.
Well, let's see. You and your wife have a far more extensive Baha'i history than those of us from this country. The faith began in your home country, in Iran, 172 years ago. There are a lot of people in the world that don't realize that the Baha'i faith is a worldwide religion. We've been surprised as we've had group meetings to find people who thought that it was strictly a religion of Iran. And that's not true at all. That's where it started and has spread and spread throughout the entire world. We know that the persecutions of the followers of the Bab was intense during those early years and also during the time of Baha'u'llah. So what has been the situation since that time in Iran?
Yeah, well, obviously when we speak of religion, it's not the easy subject to face, and but somehow this is will of God, of course. Something happened extraordinary in Iran 172 years ago. It started with the Bab Declaration, then Baha'u'llah brought the universal message. So obviously in Iran, since people live for 1,500 years under Islamic religion. And of course, there is no proper education. Whatever the leader of the Islamic tells you, you have to obey. Doesn't matter. Nobody asks any individual Muslim to express their opinion.
Right.
So obviously, at that particular time, when the Bab declared himself, of course, opposed by the Islamic leaders. So those Islamic leaders provoked the people that we do not recognize the Bab's declaration. So obviously, anybody who believed in the Bab could be persecuted or tortured or lost his houses or the kids or wives or whoever that you want to mention. So obviously this problem grows so bad. So it just deepened to the people, and they made the Baha'i faith as if we are anti-Islamic. But the truth, it wasn't. As I mentioned earlier, since lack of education and ignorance caused so much problem before they investigate why the Bab declared his mission, why Baha'u'llah brought the message. Before any investigation, they just made instant decision in order to destroy whoever believe in Baha'u'llah or the Bab. So during the time from 172 years, of course, this is a will of God. You know, if somebody believes in it, it starts from the heart. And of course, we had so much followers, and during the time of the Bab, more than 20,000 followers tortured or executed, and that shows the faith was there. So many people migrated to other countries, and Baha'u'llah himself exiled through the Baghdad, Adrianople, then at the last ended in Haifa. And of course, the more people get opposed to the Baha'i faith, the more people getting curious about this, what is going on.
Sure.
And of course, historically, unfortunately, in Iran was hidden, and nobody realized the revolution, spiritual revolution of the Bab. It really woke up that society was kind of closed-minded. And this brought new form of way of new society. Just imagine Tahir, who revealed the veil, and that was the forerunner of the new revolution for women's society. At that time, women used to keep at the kitchen just to cook and bring the babies.
Right.
But Tahir opened new revolution that half of the population is women.
Right.
So they have the potential to move and change the face of society. And this new society, of course, starts with the Bab and Baha'u'llah and the followers. But unfortunately, the leaders of the Iran, religious Iran, it just changed the image of that and showed that this is not the religion. This is related us to the political party or sort of that. But as the history shows, during that 172 years, especially after revolution, on 1979, and as we know, Baha'i faith is grows so much in other countries because people got curious that what kind of religion is this? They start to investigate, research about Baha'i faith, and as you might imagine, we have more than 200 national assemblies across the world. And still, there are so many problems. The recent problem that we have, it's more related to education in Iran. And as you know or aware of, young Baha'is are not allowed to go to the university in order to follow their career or their goals.
Yeah.
And what happened during several years ago, we started to have higher education in Iran, but unfortunately that one also closed by the government. And not only that, the government tried to do so many different ways, tried to stop us from spreading our faith to the world. And the message is, this religion started from Iran, but it belongs to the universe, belongs to the world, belongs to everyone.
Absolutely.
This is the university of this religion, that everyone belongs to one garden. And this is why we're trying to make universal peace and love based on Baha'u'llah's teaching.
Why do you think the Iranian government is so opposed to that idea? In the United States, we have a bunch of different religions, and the government doesn't really feel threatened by any of them. We just tolerate different beliefs. And I know that in Iran, it's obviously different, that they don't tolerate other beliefs. And I guess that's kind of what I'm asking, is if you have a sense of why there's this difference, why can we do it in America, but they can't do it in Iran?
Yeah, I understand what exactly you're saying. I can refer it to India. They have so many gods, religion, but you see peace over there.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit different. But back home in Iran, I would say there is different taste in it. This is what God decided maybe to guide it that way. And it's very sensitive. There is such a great power in Islamic religion. So to us, if Iranian Muslim convert to the Bahá'í, it generates such a great power. Even to introduce it to other people around the world. So obviously the government tried to prevent that. And as I mentioned earlier, if they give freedom to the Baha'i faith in Iran, I promise you, it's a matter of 24 hours, maybe more than half of the population become Baha'i, just like that.
Wow. Really?
It is. Because Iranian people are very smart and intelligent.
Absolutely.
Once they realize the truth, they'll accept it and they go for it.
Wow.
They already know there is something wrong with the religion of Islam and the way that we believe. Of course, any religion has a time. It's just the laws cannot applicable anymore.
Right.
Based on what it is in the Quran, the holy book in Islam, of course, the laws was applicable for a particular time. But it just doesn't work for our life, our society at this time.
That's right.
So if there is a way to open the gate to teach the people, Iranian people specifically, of course, there won't be any place for Iranian government at all. They would be eliminated. And of course, they don't want to happen that way. So they have to keep people in a way to let them know, Baha'i faith is against us. Baha'i faith is just a political party. And of course, as long as they publicizing it, we won't be able to send the real message, the truth to the people, what exactly Baha'i faith is all about.
Right.
And of course, there are so many forecasting from long time ago. Even there are some famous poets. They refer that something is going to happen in Shiraz. That's so obvious, and everybody read that poem, but nobody understands this talking about the Bab.
The prophecy came and they didn't recognize it.
Exactly, and we Iranian people love poems.
Yes.
And sometimes we read the poems, but we don't realize, you're that famous poet, Hafiz. said 1,000 years ago, somebody will come from Shiraz just like Christ. And that's amazing.
That is amazing. His life so much like Christ.
Exactly. We always read it and we never realize, okay, that poet, it didn't say it for fun.
Right.
He's trying to give you a message.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because in Quran, if a true believer of Muslim, if they read the Quran, there are signs that it tells where it's supposed to come.
Yes.
When they talking about even Baha'u'llah coming, clearly says Baha'u'llah comes from Nur, which is a place. And we always say that word when we talk to each other, but we never realize this person is Baha'u'llah, who came from Nur of the Mazandaran.
Yes.
Wow.
That originally Baha'u'llah came from.
Right.
That this word is mentioned in Quran. And I just don't understand why people don't realize supposed to be that. When you talk about somebody who's supposed to be, that person is an extraordinary person that you're talking. You're not talking about regular people.
Right.
And unfortunately, the Iranian people, they don't read Quran that much. They just want to hear something from Ayatollah. Whatever they say, they're just going to follow that one. So.
Right.
They're not doing their own individual investigation.
No, they're
yes.
not. And I'd heard, I was curious, what the propaganda. I'd heard there's a lot of anti-Baha'i propaganda. I don't know, it reminds me of the propaganda against the Jews in Germany in World War II. I mean, do you know anything about what they've been saying?
Yeah, actually, this all comes back from the time of the Bab and Baha'u'llah. Of course, at that time, Iranian government had a problem with Russia because Iran and Russia got into fight, and Iran lost some of the land supposedly back then.
Yeah.
And because of that coincidence, Iranian government tried to take advantage to relate it to us, to the either Russia or Israel or even England, to make us look bad. And of course, Iranian patriotism thought, oh, the Baha'is are here to destroy our countries, or they are the people trying to negotiate with other countries like such Russia or England or Israel. In one time, they were claiming that we are built or generated by Russia just to make, to penetrate in our society, to destroy the religion of Islamic, but the truth is not. And the time now proved that we have nothing to do with Russia political or
That's
England or Israel. If there is Israel, of course, Iranian government exiled Baha'u'llah that far.
You know, that's what always interests me. That
we never went there. You're the one exiled because you thought you're going to get rid of Baha'i faith by exiling Baha'u'llah far from here, but you just spread out the faith to other place. And if we go to Israel, because our holy shrine is located right there.
Right. I mean, Baha'u'llah was there before the state of Israel existed.
So basically, the government tried to make all kind of excuses to relate us to any political party, but unfortunately, it's not working. They're just making it worse and making people get curious about this. And of course, some people, they can investigate and say, no, that's not the fact.
Yeah.
And the result, what we see right now, all the progress that we have across the world, and they are such a great progress. And by the time, of course, people are realizing that this is a universal religion, is nothing.
We're not threatening to anybody, are we?
Yeah, exactly. It's not a local religion. They say, okay, something happened in Iran is for Iranian. It's not like this. belong to everyone. It's just initiated. It has to come from somewhere.
That's right.
But the message is just goes everywhere. We are a worldwide religion, and we inviting everyone welcome to this new faith. This is a new revolution, spiritual wise, and we trying to educate our next generation how they supposed to live together in one universal family.
Yeah.
Wasn't during the time of the last Shah, weren't things a little better at that time for the Baha'is? Didn't we have schools, regular Baha'i schools that were attended, and medical places that eventually got closed down?
Yeah, obviously, the time when Shah's time, I would say Reza Shah or Muhammad Reza came on power as a king of Iran, things apparently was better. But to me, as a Baha'i faith, even though apparently we had the freedom, we had even our own hospital, we had the freedom, but to me, something really didn't work as a Baha'i individual. Even though it was freedom, we could even teach. But to me, that revolution of Islamic made it such a phenomenon change.
Yeah.
I felt our society, our Baha'i community needs to shape up too. And the result, as you see, is much greater than it was during Shah's time. This is my individual opinion. That if it wasn't because of revolution, probably we would never have such a great progress.
Isn't that interesting?
Baha'i faith.
Yes.
Wow. And not everybody talking about Baha'i faith.
Yeah.
And imagine during Shah's time, it was just normal things. Okay, something happened in Iran. There is Baha'i faith. Okay. Now the image is completely different.
Yeah.
First of all, after revolution, we send a message that the Baha'i faith is an organization that keeps the peace without war. You don't have to hold a weapon in order to create the peace.
Right.
The peace comes by education and spiritual wiseness. So to me, the way that I see it, because I was a teenager in Shah's time, and after revolution, even though Iranian government tortured Baha'is, they killed assembly members. As you know, more than, I don't have the correct number, maybe more than 200 assembly members are executed in different ways. But I see the result now. If it was because of those executions, probably we wouldn't have this much progress. Right. During last 30 years, I would say we progressed maybe for 100 years, way superior than it was before. Wow. And not everybody talks about it. Even the United States Congress talks about it.
Right.
They never talked about Baha'i faith during Shah's time because it was apparently a peace, but to me it wasn't peace that we were speaking. So to me, after revolution, even Iranian people got open-minded too. They opened differently because after revolution, realistically, they proved the laws of Quran, it doesn't work anymore. It's not applicable. Rather than in Shah's time, we tried to convince them, okay, the religion of Islam is over and now is the time for new spirituality, but they wouldn't accept it.
Right.
So by doing that, of course, this is will of God. how to, the way that guiding, of course, the cause. And to me, I see it in a positive way. I know we are tortured. I know I couldn't go to a school. I know my wife didn't have a chance to a school. Many other young generation. But look at this way, how much we had a progress universally. And now everywhere you go, they talk about Baha'i faith. Because of that, if that revolution would have never happened, probably we would never have any progress that the way we have right now.
Wow.
And that's the way it has been in our faith always, that it's persecution that brings out the faith. As you say, they exiled Baha'u'llah, well, that spreads it.
Right.
The more that there's persecution, the more people become aware of it.
Yep.
And that's, just an intriguing fact. And we have people, of course, in Iran today who are how many do we have now in prison? Quite a few,
there are many of them. Of course, they...
Just for being Baha'is.
Yeah, I was just checking my Facebook yesterday. One of my dearest friend, he got imprisoned for 1 year. Frequently, they take some, put them in the jail. Once you free, they go after another one. So you can't really find the correct number because it's variable.
So they're coming and going in and
coming
out of prison.
and going. So, but many are prison right now, and many other Baha'is, they own like small businesses. They are closed down, unfortunately. So the tactic is try to torture you by getting your property, try to come up with different excuses, psychologically give you a hard time. And of course, we're ready for it, no matter what they do,
Right.
we always ready. And there are some Baha'is in Iran that they even waiting for you to give them a hard time because they want to challenge themselves, in what way they can resist to strengthen their faith. And this is all about, it's is really challenging. Sometimes I myself, I want to go there and challenge them. And of course, it's not easy, and anything might happen to you.
Yeah.
You might be tortured, you might be executed, you might lose your property, and of course you get in trouble. But
and
of
worrying
course,
about your family, no doubt, in the process.
yeah, and absolutely. And of course, since we have such a great faith in Baha'u'llah, we know he is our protector. No matter what happens, we always know Baha'u'llah is with us, and that's the key. No matter what they do, we know Baha'u'llah is always there for us.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes I have thought in this country, it is very easy to be a Baha'i. We are not challenged.
Right.
And then we try to do our part and wonder why we don't seem to be getting anywhere. And I think that's it. We are not challenged the way you were in Iran.
Right.
And so it's just... we don't gain strength without that challenge.
Right. It's like resistance weights.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, it's kind of challenging. This is why I always think why Baha'u'llah came from Iran. Iranian has such a great strength. No matter what you do to them, they always stay to the end. Even if you torture them, they still smile. And of course, this Baha'i faith is based on spiritual education. Of course, coming to U.S. or any other countries, we can educate them to familiar with the new way of morality. And the way that I see it in this country, of course, moral value has no meaning. And
Absolutely.
It just doesn't work. Everything is just materialized. Everything based on dollar and cents.
So just totally opposite from where you have come from.
Yeah, exactly.
Extremes.
Exactly. So this is why we feel that we need the teachings of Baha'u'llah. The more that
absolutely.
we see it that way, then means that's the reason why Baha'u'llah brought such a great teachings to change the face of the society that we are living in. Absolutely, there is no spiritual value whatsoever. Not only problem in this world, other countries is suffering too. So the combination of the immorality, economic problems. So of course, Baha'u'llah brought all those teaching for us in great teachings that tells how we're supposed to live in this world, other than concerning regard to poverty. We need to elevate our spiritual value too. And that's the main idea why Baha'u'llah came, is just to revolutionize our spiritual value. Otherwise, there is no point. We can go to a school, educate, learn a good way of living, but that's not enough. We need divine messenger to educate us and elevate our spiritual for next life. Just by looking at from 100 years ago, just if we see the face of the humanity, everything going toward unity. And Baha'u'llah wants to unify, harmonize this world as a one universal family. Look at the language. One of the Baha'u'llah's teaching to have one universal language, and see right now people are needed one language to be able to communicate with each other. If I didn't know English, then I wouldn't be able to communicate with you guys. Or in any other. I might not speak perfectly English, but at least I can send a message. So if you look at it, the need of our society, the need that we have in this portion of the time, what is important to us? Having universal language, even gathering all the differences. People are living different religions, but if you look at it, we are belong to one God.
That's right.
There's a one source. It's just because of all those messengers, they came in different time, but they all came from one source. But unfortunately, lack of knowledge, education causes prejudice. And we're trying to send a message that we all belong to one God. And that's the main idea, that there is no difference among anybody. All black and white welcome to this religion. And they can practice their own intelligence and put their knowledge toward peace and unity. And this is what we need right now.
Very much so. Well, we could probably go on about this for a long, long time, but the United Nations is aware of these problems, and I always like to kind of remember to thank Dick Durbin and Mark Kirk for their efforts. And it's kind of, these are what keep total genocide from happening, isn't it? It's so we can't just ignore it and say it'll take care of itself. We have to do our part and keep the Iranian government just a little bit under control there. So your wife, before she came, now she does artwork. And did you say she was not able to continue schooling in her artwork?
My wife Rizwan, like many other young Baha'is didn't allow to go to school, of course. But fortunately, God gave him such a talent, being artistic. Talent. So, of course, even though she was painting back home in Iran, but she didn't get the permission to display it and show it. And of course, my wife is very happy being in the U.S. and try to show her talent and display her own artistic way of showing in the painting. But what comes to the point, this is the biggest challenge back home in Iran. Still, women don't have that much of a freedom. Even if you live as a Muslim or Christian or Jewish, you still don't get that freedom. Try to show your talent. So they always try to keep the woman away from society. And this is unfortunately one of the biggest problem and challenging, that government forcing women stay away from showing their talent. So of course I wish other women like my wife could come to this country and show their talent. But I'm sure near future, of course, we believe one day all this problem would be resolved. And I'm sure one day Baha'i faith would be recognized. It's just a matter of time. Yes. When it's going to happen. But I'm sure, based what we believe as a Baha'i, one day Baha'i faith would be recognized. And we believe a majority of people would be Baha'i too. They would be realized, they have the freedom. But right now we are challenging ourselves. The more that you see the darkness, the better off you see the light.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
The idea that in the darkest night you see the stars the brightest.
Yeah.
And that's something we just really have to remind ourselves of frequently, is that there is this light, and the darkness is not scary when you know that better things are coming.
Right. And this is the great time of the human history, that we are blessed to see that history, because never like this is going to happen again.
Right. Yeah.
It's only one time it's going to happen. Who knows in the future, many thousand years from now, what kind of revolution, a spiritual revolution is going to happen. But this is very unique.
Yes.
Because it's forecasted from beginning of the
all
human
the
civilization. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. Yes. We've come to the end of an entire age.
Right.
And so this is just a totally new beginning. And it's sometimes it's hard to see it, but this is the day.
Yeah, exactly.
This is the day of God.
Yeah.
Okay, well, as I said, we can't thank you enough for being willing to come on to the program today and teaching us about the situation in your native country and the birthplace of the Baha'i faith. And thank you ever so much.
Thank you for having me here. It was a great pleasure talking with you and also Shaun.
Okay, so Parviz, we're going to be reading from some of the writings, and hope that you'll participate with us in that.
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Now, we Americans aren't any good at chanting. However, if you'd like to chant the ones that you do, we'd be glad to hear it. So we'll leave that up to you.
Okay.
Well, once again, thank you.
Thank you.
Cleave ye at all times to the cord of trustworthiness, and hold fast the hem of the garment of truthfulness. Thus biddeth you he who is the truthful, the trusted one. God is my witness. Trustworthiness is a light that shineth diffulgently from the heavens, and leadeth to the exaltation of the cause of God, the omnipotent, the incomparable, the all-praised. Whoso hath remained faithful to the covenant hath been steadfast in his adherence to trustworthiness, while those who have repudiated it have erred grievously. Baha'u'llah.
Yahu, 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 Subhanaka Yahu, Ya man huwahu, Ya man laysa ahadun illahu. Yahu, 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 Subhanaka Yahu, Ya man huwahu, Ya man laysa ahadun illahu. Yahu, 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 Subhanaka Yahu, Ya man huwahu, Ya man laysa ahadun illahu.
Should your words, O people, be at variance with your deeds, what then shall distinguish you from those who profess their faith in the Lord their God, and yet, when he came down to them overshadowed with clouds, rejected him, and waxed proud before God, the incomparable, the omnipotent? Shed not the blood of anyone, O people, neither judge ye anyone unjustly. Thus have ye been commanded by him who knoweth and is informed of all. They that commit disorders in the land, after it hath been well ordered, these indeed have outstepped the bounds that have been set in the book. Wretched shall be the abode of the transgressors. Baha'u'llah.
To find out more about Baha'i events taking place in Champaign-Urbana, or if you'd like to listen to previous New Lamp programs, you can go online to www.cu-bahai.org. Or if you would like to learn more about the Baha'i national and international community, go to www.bahai.us. Thank you again for joining us today. I hope you'll join us again next month. Goodbye.
Thanks for listening to this week's Weekend Heartbeat on WEFT Champaign 90.1 FM, Community Radio, Champaign-Urbana, Illinois, streaming live at www.weft.org.